HorrorDeconstruction.
What's going on, everybody? It's the HorrorDeconstruction. You can find us on... Did I say instruction? Deconstruction? It's one of those shows. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so people can listen to us, find us. With your host, Comp, and...
Bob Whistler.
As well as...
Tweedly-doo.
Okay.
Today's film is...
Host 2020.
Host 2020. 6 friends hire a medium to hold a seance via Zoom during lockdown, but they get a far more... Oh, I put an A there. But they get far more than they bargained for as things quickly go wrong.
Did you write the IMDb?
No. Directed by Rob Savage, or it could be Rob Savage. Written by Gemma Hurley and Rob Savage. Starring Haley Bishop, Gemma Moore, and Emma Louise Webb.
How many Gemmas can there be? And an Emma. Whoa.
Whoa. So
Gemma, and Emma.
So Thea, why did I didn't even notice that. Thea, why did you pick Host 2020?
So I had heard of it because I just heard the premise essentially and nothing else. And I think I saw a few people just saying that they really enjoyed it on Instagram, and here we are. It's a little Shudder movie and it's only an hour long.
And everybody should subscribe to Shudder, in my opinion. It's
actually
really
pretty.
good.
It's really
and
good.
You can use a VPN because I'm in Spain right now, and I use one for America just so I can use it.
I've actually watched a couple of things on Shudder. I do watch the Joe Bob Hillbilly Chris whatever horror stuff he does, which is very good. Last Drive-In that he does. I've also seen this really good indie film called Bag Boy Lover Boy. Very good.
I've heard of that. You know what would be great if this movie was a seance in which they summoned the monster from the movie The Host, that Korean movie?
Ooh.
I'm glad that you linked that together, actually. And then also I saw what was that Thai horror? Was it Thai or Philippine horror movie that I saw? The hell with it. It was good. Anyway, Shudder's very good. So
wait,
Host,
what was he about to say? I don't know. Whatever.
Host is a film that a lot of people spoke about during the beginning of during the middle of the February of 2020 or when did this release?
Was it that long ago? I mean, it's all over Twitter. I have like just for horror Twitter that I made, and it's like people talk about it a lot.
I mean, it was released during the height of the pandemic,
and it's set during the pandemic. So
it's still the height of the pandemic, so it's still
We're never getting out of the height of the pandemic. The height just keeps climbing and climbing.
Unfortunately, it's a very timely film. And, I heard about it everywhere. I even heard up to the point where I was listening to an episode of Postmortem with Mick Garris, and he was talking to John Landis and all these other directors. And they were talking about how great Host was. And he goes, oh, the South Korean film? And I was like, no, this other film that just came out. And so, you've been hearing about it everywhere, at least online. Obviously, I remember seeing Twitter. It trended for a long time. And the thing that sort of pushed me away from watching it at the beginning is that it is a film that is done with Skype, and I try to avoid most of those films where it's just like person in a box. There were actually a lot of films that came out previous to this one, where I'm sure those people were like, well, that fucking movie's ripping me off. Because the thing that I think about Host in a nutshell...
Well, I mean, it's very timely, the Zoom chats.
I think what Host does the best is that it takes everything we've seen before, but does it the best way it can, and it actually has very good acting in it, which floored me because I was surprised at how good the acting. There's maybe only one weak, very minimal weakness in, I think, is the only guy character,
right?
With his acting, because he's sort of he's sort of like that. He's sort of like that character that you would. It was like the character you were threatening to do before this episode. But I think they do, because it's weird, because I watched and I was like, wow, that's fucking good. And I was watching it in the middle of the night, and I actually was like, I was very unsettled by it for the most part.
Oh, good. That's great.
Which is, you're looking for that for horror films, because we're so fucking jaded by how many horror movies we've seen.
We're very desensitized, the three of us.
So, and the more and more I think about it, it's like
I just look for stuff to give me like a happy sort of excited feeling at this point. Never scared. I never get scared anymore.
So there's certainly this film, every visual that's in it, because there's not much you can do with this type of film that's adventurous, that's outside of what's been done before him. So obviously, to certain deaths in the film and certain things that happen in the background and visual keys, we've seen that. We've all seen that in something before. We've even seen it in recent TikToks, because there's a lot of TikToks where people are saying, "Oh shit, my house is haunted," and they'll have like a face app that'll catch a face that's a person that's not
people
there.
will make copies of it.
Right, which happens here. And so, I mean, this film uses everything. I don't think there's anything that's original in this film, but it's
only 56 minutes.
Right, and it's crafted so well. It might be the perfect length for this type of horror film. Because I can imagine if it was 2 hours, we'd have been like an hour and a half with that first girl looking at her closet and shit like that. So, Thea, how does Host begin?
Host begins with our host of the video call. Who is...
Wow, that's pretty good.
Is it Haley?
That would be Haley.
Oh, the main
Bishop,
girl?
yeah. Haley Bishop, yes.
Yes. So Haley's our host. We just start out with her, and she's in her apartment, and she's getting ready for this call, and I think something spooky happens in her apartment.
She keeps hearing knocks, like in her
sounds,
closet.
and then not finding anything there.
And the closet door kind of opens up by itself, and shit falls out.
Right.
And so she's calling her friend Gemma. So how would you describe Gemma's character?
Annoying.
She's a
Gemma
she
liked
obviously must
my
be a
post
neighbor,
about
right?
Host on Twitter.
Gemma is she just doesn't care. She's very like lax. She's kind of goofy, and she just like doesn't take anything seriously.
And she's the one that fucks it up for everybody else.
Yes, she does.
So then we're also introduced to the other. Everybody looks so different from what they look like in the film. Besides Haley and Gemma, I don't know who the fuck is who. There's Emma, Radina, Caroline. There's so
Where are you seeing this? On IMDb? Because on the wiki you
yeah,
can't even
they
click
look
on
different.
anyone's name.
So there's the blonde, who's the one with the face app. There's the sophisticated one with the asshole husband.
Radina.
And who is the other young lady?
Caroline is the one with brown hair, and so Emma is the blonde.
Who's the one that has the repeating background? I love that.
That's her. That's Emma, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. So that's Emma. She
Oh wait,
looked the youngest out of all of them, right?
no, that's Caroline, I think.
Okay, so she's the one that actually looked the youngest out of them. Well, besides the blonde. And then there's a guy named Alan who shows up, and I think he has like a rich girlfriend. He gets a raw end of the deal, I think, honestly, in this movie.
Yeah, he wasn't even.
He didn't even do
it.
it. He had nothing to do with anything, and he still got fucked up. So
he
what?
picked a bad girlfriend, so that's what he.
So
did.
what are the circumstances that happen in this film to cause the main plot progression of Host, Thea?
What happens is they hire a woman to do a seance with them.
That would be Haley's character. She picks Salen, right?
That's when
right.
you know it's gonna go bad already.
You
Don't
know
have
it's gonna go bad.
seances, guys.
So then Salen drops off the call right after, what's her name? Oh God, Gemma? Gemma tells this crazy story about this guy that passed away, and she said she saw him in her room. And as soon as Salen drops off the call, Gemma breaks into laughter and says that wasn't true, essentially. But the spirit that
was
she
well done,
described,
too.
yeah, she's a pretty good actor as a human.
Yeah.
So, it was pretty convincing.
The hell is that?
She
It's like
plays
an
a good
alien
human.
You sound like fucking an alien just explained the human movie to somebody else.
Human actor, people.
But no, actually, very good acting from everyone around the court. I was very surprised to see a found footage movie where everyone's acting was very legit.
Believable. It was very naturalistic.
Correct. That's exactly because I feel like these people, they obviously did this film by remote. So a lot of these people had control. They must have.
Now, do you think they really did do it all from completely different locations through a real Zoom?
Maybe. Why not?
It's weird because half of the.
I mean, you made a thing sort of like that with a person coincidentally with the same name.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's
Gemma,
it's strange because a lot of the people in this they have accents. So half of the cast has accents.
Well, they're all British except for the main girl. She's American, I guess.
Yeah.
Or Canadian.
Well, yeah, and Gemma was in the
North
same.
America.
I guess in the same vicinity. They could have faked Gemma being in the same vicinity as Haley, just with clever editing. But yeah, I do think that they might have shot it remote. I'm not sure. I should look at the trivia of the film actually, but I think it's like pretty flawless because there's obviously has to be edits throughout the film for
Yeah.
certain things. Like obviously a cut will go and one person's frame will become full frame, so obviously you can do the edit there. But I think for the most part, I think they must have really rehearsed the shit out of this movie. Like no question that they did it because there's no strong sort of things happening in the background and stuff like that when they're all on screen together. It usually happens when one screen comes up full frame. But it's literally invisible editing with this film. Obviously, the obvious edit is when the screen pops up because then you can do anything you want and reshoot stuff. But I think that the editing and everything is really fucking solid, especially the
I
part
really
where,
liked when it had that like weird the face, what the stupid filters that people put on themselves with like the
Right.
tongue and everything. But like
Right.
while she's dying, I was like, oh, this is like so disturbing actually. Oh, it was
What were you
good.
saying,
It
Thea?
was a
You
good
liked what?
movie.
I looked it up and it said filmed entirely using Zoom during the COVID-19 lockdown.
yeah.
Okay.
So there you go.
Cool.
So
With the special effects, like for her getting dragged, her chair getting dragged backwards,
that must have been
like,
post. Obviously, that's all post. And could
you
be
think?
strings
You don't
on-
think that she had somebody like
I mean,
with strings like pulling?
Yeah,
yeah, they
it
could
could have
do
been
that, I'm
fishing
sure.
wire and another person in the apartment, maybe.
It almost seems though like the crew on the film numbered the same amount of people who acted in the film. It didn't seem like it was a big heavy crew of people on it, which
Yeah.
also was a very clever end credits, where it's just like they pull down tab.
What I'm saying is, whoever was doing the special effects had to be going from house to house.
So
doing
I mean,
shit.
there's but like some of the stuff that we have seen in other films before are obviously the girl smashing her face against the keyboard to death.
Yeah.
That I certainly saw from another horror. They were like, even if I haven't seen the horror film, there was a movie, Unfriended, I think it was, that came out.
Yeah.
That was like the
we
first.
saw that, didn't we?
No, we didn't. That was the first. I
Are you
think.
Sure, I think we did.
Okay, then yeah, we saw it. What happened in it? But anyway,
You were just like, no, we didn't.
I know. Even I thought, oh, that was pretty.
Why
rude.
did you get so aggressive?
Because I'm like the one that remembers every movie that we've seen, so it's like bizarre. Like, yeah, we saw that.
That's like a
No, we didn't see
curse.
that.
That's
It
like
is,
your
believe
curse
me, it
to
is.
remember all of the
Not
movies
to edit
we've
these
seen.
shits. But Unfriended, I believe, was the first chat room horror film. I think that was like widescreen
No, that would
release.
be Strangeland. Remember they explained
Well,
AOL
okay,
chat
yes.
rooms.
But what that was specifically towards, like, so Host owes its whole thing to Unfriended, even if the director didn't watch
I mean, yeah,
it.
as far as the story of
Yeah.
Host, it is not original at all.
Absolutely
but
not.
It's just
so,
well made.
But I think the keyboard death came from that with the girls. But I like the way that they handle it in here, where you're watching that loop of her coming out of a room and her face just automatically plows into the screen. And I think the camera goes into her throat as well.
Yeah.
So, but I remember seeing a GIF or like a meme of the girl's face. They
It's
put it
a
on
GIF.
like they put it to make it look like if it was real or something. Like it was, I think it was a young African American girl, and her face keeps smashing down, and her face keeps getting bloodier and bloodier, and people are like, oh my god, this is horrible. And I'm like, fucking person's not face is not gonna get smashed by keyboards like that. But obviously it takes from that. The part where the girl's walking, I think she's walking around in her attic, and you see like the digital like legs floating in the air. That's obviously, you can see that in any Japanese ghost
That was like
video.
in Sinister or something, one of those
Oh
ones.
yeah. But even earlier than that, whenever you can just YouTube Japanese ghost videos, it's always like somebody's legs floating in the air, it's stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there's nothing about it that's original, but the director weaved it all together. It's almost like seeing the greatest hits if you've never seen them before. And at the time, I wasn't thinking, I've seen that before. I was like genuinely, because of the acting was so strong and the dialogue and the way that the characters sort of meshed together, I was genuinely like, oh fuck, like watching. But it
You
also
have
helped
a
that it was in the middle of the
crush on
night.
this movie. You're in
do.
love with this movie.
I liked them. I liked everybody in the movie. I thought that was pretty. But Gemma's a fucking idiot, or she's an asshole. But who wouldn't do that? It's honestly, like, you're almost like
I mean, I wouldn't
inclined
do
to do.
that.
You're right, because you at the slightest thought that it might be real, that like
Yeah.
a demon will
Thea, would you
do
do that?
Sure.
So
You sound
Thea,
very unenthusiastic right
Thea,
now.
rank your characters in this film. Like, who did you like the best to the least, and their importance to the film?
Rank them. I guess I liked. I mean, Haley took everything too seriously. So
She's
you know
the one
what?
that
I
put him in
liked-
that situation. So she's just as guilty as Gemma.
She's just as guilty as Gemma. Yeah, she didn't tell them that like there's spooky shit going on in my house. So maybe there's already something here. Who do I like? I guess I don't know. I kind of like them all the same. I like Gemma the least.
I like the demon the best. Like the demon was definitely like enjoyable to me.
Demon's
yeah, it does end at a jump scare, like a typical sort of YouTube jump scare. Like there's plenty of with the monsters jumping on screen, and I'm sure people shit their pants watching that stuff. But I did for the most part think they were all equally sort of good. And for what
I do enjoy the guy though. You say you didn't like him, but I
did like him.
How fucking stupid he was, and then
I
he
liked
just
him.
like
some of his acting was a little too broy.
imagine like you come back after like having sex with your girlfriend or something, and you're playing a little joke, and all of a sudden your girlfriend's floating in the air dying, and you have no idea why.
Yeah, that, and she got her neck broken in the air,
context.
and you're like, yeah, because he
has no context for what's happening. He's just all of a sudden everything in his life is ruined.
Like because it's like a decent night, you just got laid, and then you just go back on the computer, and then your girlfriend's floating in the air, and you're like, what just happened? Like this is the opposite of what just happened 5 minutes ago. So I don't know.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know.
Right. Maybe they were doing seance on each other.
It could have been like a Ghostbusters thing where she's floating above the bed.
Yeah, no, I didn't say I hated his character. I just thought that his acting was a little too goofy. Right, it's not as strong as everybody else's. I did like the old man who decided to show his man boobs to everybody, which was fun.
Where is that? What? I don't remember that.
The old man. Remember the young girl who had the...
Oh, yeah, the dad, yeah.
He was like, hey, check out these nice man titties.
And he's dead, too.
That's true. Or maybe he went to go check, his AARP letters in the mail.
I mean, what is the rules here? The demon just like anybody that looks at the screen, it kills?
So I guess so. I guess it's just like it's like an
Anybody
infection,
in the
like a horror
connection
movie.
Of the call.
Are there any negatives in this film, Gemma? I mean Gemma. We'll just call ourselves the characters in the movie.
And you picked the worst one.
I did. It's the Ia. Sorry.
I mean, it's such a tight, well done thing. Like, nothing really bothered me.
Yeah.
Could have seen more of the psychic. Could have been interesting, I guess. But
yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed it, top to bottom. The like fire effect was really good. Like when he gets lit on fire at the end was really intense. And
yeah.
I mean, we could have spent a little less time with Emma crying, I suppose. But other than that,
right.
No, I just
enjoyed
liked
her crying.
Of course you did.
Because you can see if this was like a 90-minute film, the extra half an hour would have been Haley by herself at her house getting spooked.
There was missed opportunities, though.
Like
what? Why? Like what?
I thought of a whole cool scene they could have done. Like, wouldn't it have been cool if the...
Hey, girls, it's makeout time. Yay! That's what Danny's thought of.
Well, they can't do that. They're on Zoom, and there's the virus. They got to social distance. They could have flashed each other. That was my scene.
There you go.
No, I was thinking if the demon like impersonated the psychic and like had the psychic, call them back, but it's not real. It's like the demon and like tells them to do something that would make it more powerful, basically. And then you find out through like a text message from the psychic that it's not actually that she didn't call them on the video.
Host 2.
Maybe. Hopefully after the pandemic.
Yeah. Any negatives for you, Danny? Just the missed opportunity?
I mean, it was, it's not a very creative movie, like we said.
I can imagine.
That's why I'm saying it would have been better if they tried to do something that hasn't been done to infinity.
Danny was watching the film with his glass of champagne and flicked his glasses across the room. He goes, how dare they not have...
No, I flicked my monocle, Alex.
But, I thought it was a solid movie. What did you guys think was the strongest aspect of the film?
The acting. It was really good.
I would say the acting. This was a horror film actually carried by its acting.
It was solid and believable across the board, which is hard to do.
And the effects were all, pretty decent for what it is. It's a low-budget movie.
Yeah. But it got eyes on...
What is the budget?
Can't be more than, you think 20,000 maybe?
No, and more than that.
You think so?
I mean, there's a guy floating in the air. Yeah, I think so.
But that guy can really do that. But I think that it's warranted its reviews because I guess it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but whatever. I think it's
It's not like a groundbreaking movie, but it's worth a watch, and it's fucking less than an hour. Like, watch it.
There you go.
Yeah, and I think that was like a perfect thing for. I think all like found footage movies should be like an hour long, maybe, because then we don't have to have so many fucking expositionary.
It's always the
movies.
build up to like, why are they filming this? That's always the part that's like so annoying.
Yeah, there's only been one director that I think that has done good found footage. Danny, I think you and I know
The one with the hell scene at the end with the jellyfish.
Yeah, besides that last part is Noroi. That director, I think, is Shiraishi or something like that.
And a cult too.
Right,
whatever.
But yeah, this guy is solid with this film. It's very hard to find. I always say it's hard to find good found footage movie, but luckily we've found all.
We found all of them.
Yeah, and so I'm afraid we're gonna be running out.
I suppose not Skype is Spree technically a found footage movie?
It is, yeah, it is
because that's the best found footage movie I've ever seen. Then
Really?
Okay.
easily.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's such a good movie, Thea. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Oh, so Host is a British film. Okay. It's a British film. I'm trying to see what the budget is for it, though. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't.
it says $970,000. That can't be right.
That sounds more realistic to
No,
me.
that's a different movie. That's a different. Ugh, I hate when they do that crap. Apparently, there's a lot of Host movies from 2020. But anyway, apparently this was low budget. But regardless, it was.
I mean, 1 million is low budget.
No, but that's for a different movie called Host for 2020. Anyway,
Fine.
so Danny, what is your rating for Host 2020?
I'm gonna give this movie it's like a 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. You're just banging your annoying girlfriend, and you go to say hello to your friends, and now your annoying girlfriend's hanging above a pool, and her neck is broken, and you're dying.
That was the foreplay, the after foreplay, I guess.
Yeah.
I'd give this movie also an 8 out of 10. Wanted to talk to your friend online through Zoom, and then their nasty old dirty dad comes out and starts showing his hairy chests and stomach to sexually titillate these young women, and it becomes some sort of European porn film. Thea, what rating would you give Host 2020?
I'm also gonna give it an 8 out of 10. 8's across
Okay,
the
that's-
board. 8 out of 10.
the beast. Oh, whoops.
8 out of 10. There's always a fucking spooky music box because people
That's
just
true.
can't help themselves.
I did
That's
forget
true.
that. I was waiting for the music box to open and that guy who runs that company to jump out of it. Whatever he's called. So with that, Thea, what's the final word?
Sanitize.
Danny, what's the final word?
Gemma.
The HorrorDeconstruction.